Welcome to another edition of Windrose. Today I'm going to show you my Spanish style village. Here I'm inside the apothecary shop. Got the enchanting table. Not very interesting, but there it is. I don't know why I'm going through all these menus. Anyways, outside of the apothecary shop, there's some warehousing. We got some cranes there to get the goods up through this over the steps. Guess I'm going to show you around the apothecary shop. Got all my goods. There's my warehouse. Up here is the forge. Got a little garden here for the apothecary shop. Here's a copper mine. And the forge. Actually, underneath that floor is my bonfire, which I don't like. It annoys me. I try to hide it whenever I can. And then a little area where you can cut the logs, process the wood for the fires. Banana, lime, all the good stuff. Over here is the powder shop. I got my gunpowder here. Got 4 babies. Mortar Joe. Here's all the linens, fabrics. And then the manager, he has his office up here. Nice little cozy area. Shutters if he wants to open up. Get some fresh air. Take a walk onto the balcony. There's the blacksmith shop. Over in the distance you can see my fort. There. I can harbor 2 ships on those docks over there. The water's deep enough, and that's what the reason I got this area was because of this cove. It's got some deep water. I can get a frigate in here, but it cannot turn around, so I had to put it way back over there in the commerce area. So this is all Spanish style. Over there is the farming area. This here is the industrial area. This is where I make the goods. More warehouses. This is the back entrance to the 2nd-story warehouse. There's 3 units on the bottom, 3 on top, and an office on the top level. People can rent these units for a fee, of course, and pretty good size. Here's some more cranes, and then upstairs up to the office. So the owner, he owns the building, he rents out the units. That's how he makes his money. And here you can see the crane. Well, not very good, but there's the crane. Gets the goods from the ground level up to the 2nd level. And like I said, we've got 3 units here. There's the 2nd. And then the 3rd. That's the back steps we took. So this is my industrial area, and then again, over there is the farm. Any enemy ships coming into this port will get fired upon by the forts. So invaders beware. Yep, it's the warehouse. One of them. The other two warehouses in this area are owned by the trade company, and then the jewelers. Here's the corn. There's 3 farms, and they all grow this corn in this area. And then here's the mill that actually mills the corn. There you go. Lots of corn. Lots and lots and lots of corn. Took me forever to plant that, let me tell you. More warehouses. This is the corn mill. There's one dock. Couple ships. Looks like they're unloading. Could be loading, I don't know. Just have to use our imagination. And here's the cove. Here's my fort. Here's another campfire. Bonfire I'm going to be using. I'll be probably building farms out over there. There's the entrance to the cove. On those dark rainy nights, those 2 bonfires really help to navigate my ships into this cove. Otherwise I can run up to the land. So in the distance you see the rich area, the commerce area. This here are the farming, the docks. This is like, not the slums, but there's not a lot of residential. You have the Port Authority. Anyone coming into the port, docking, needs to pay a fee. And this is the government agency that's going to collect that fee. And with those monies, they maintain the ports, and they have a small force, armed force, to enforce the laws, regulations, what have you. More warehouses. Here's a small alley. Let's get through here, and I'll show you the fort. Oh yeah, more warehouses. The diamond is the symbol for the jewelers. So they own this warehouse. It's the Jewelers Guild. That's the word I was looking for. So here's the fort. Different layers. There's the lookout tower. Here's layer 1. These cannons can shoot into the town. These cannons will shoot into the cove or the port. If enemies come in, they can just take care of them. This fort is owned by the Port Authority, so this is where a lot of that money goes. But they protect the port. They've got their own armed forces. They're the government agency. This is my town. I own a trade company. Any trade that comes in, I get a cut. The Port Authority gets their money from people actually docking at the ports. So we work together. We each get our cut. I deal with the guilds, supplying goods, and the Port Authority allows those goods to come into the port. Let's go up to the lookout tower, more cannon, looking over the port, or the cove. Here's my industrial area, industrial zone. And then finally the lookout tower. I can look out into the open ocean, see what's coming. I got a good view of the cove. There's a bonfire. I'm going to build more farms over there. Here's the rich area, the commission. There's a frigate docked. That's the only place because the water's deep enough. And then, of course, the industrial. There's a farm over there. It's all Spanish style. So, fort, farms, industry, commerce. It's a pretty self-sustaining system. The Port Authority protects it, and I collect the money. Alright, I'm going to build me a tavern right here. I'll show that to you in another video. Because when the sailors come in, they need, well, the officers are going to want someplace to sleep that's comfortable. They don't want to sleep in a bed. Let's take this bell. This place is so big, you need to travel with a bell. And we'll take a look at what. Here's my commerce. On the commerce section. Okay, here's the port. Here's my frigate. Big Mama. Yeah, that's a big ship, alright. It won't dock. It is the only dock it can go to. The water's deep enough. I had to build this dock out pretty far, too. Anyways, over there is another blacksmith shop, armor. There's the tavern. Oh, furniture shop. There's my. Oops, went too fast. There's the bell tower over there. Some cannon. That's owned by the Port Authority. Taking care of those enemies. Over there's the rental housing. Over there is the, commerce, the guilds for foods and goods. Right there. There's my trade company. You can barely see it in the setting sun. Port Authority. Those flags indicate which countries we are trading with. Let's take a look. Here's the flags. So here's the Port Authority. Again, this is in this area for this port. Little office. There's my wharf. That's where I can access my ships. inventory when I'm setting out so I can stock the ship, unload the ship. Little dock area in case you fall in the water, you get out. Over there, some trade, some vendors. And I built pergola. Shade them from weather. That's my smokehouse. He smokes the meats, sells them to the ships. They can have smoked meats, jerky on their voyage. Nice center fountain. That's my trading company. All trade coming into this island goes through me. So I get a cut of everything that comes in this island. Here's the guild for all the commerce. Back here we have a jeweler and tailor. Here's the tailor. Couple fitting rooms. You might recognize those fitting rooms. I got that idea from another player. Good idea. I thought I'd use it here. But this is where they can do like leather armor, light armor, clothing. I can make linens here. You know, nice little shop. Over here's the jeweler. This is where you go if you want jewelry. Necklaces, rings, things of that nature. A couple workbenches. Again, you may recognize this from another player. Good idea. I thought I'd use it. And then back here, I'm going to have a mansion. I'll show you how I built it in another video. But that's what this area is going to be. It's going to be a big old mansion. Let's go take a look at the rest of the place. So this is the town center. This is where all the action happens. There's my... Well, there's the bell tower. Here's the more street vendors. I'm going to go to the beach. Let's come down here. Here's my docks, my ports. The apartments. We got 4 units on the bottom, 4 on top. And then they all have balconies. Oh, here's a nice area. Oh yeah, my zoo. These are those angry birds. I cannot get them from not spawning in. They're always going to spawn in, whether I have a bonfire or not. So I just walled them in so they don't trouble people. This is the back side of the apartments and the commerce guild. I'll take a look at one of the apartments here, a couple. I didn't furnish it yet, but here it is. Little table can go here. Bed. They got a little balcony out here. Here's another one. This one's got a balcony. Nice view. There's the apothecary shop. Right there. The entrance to the bell tower. Nice view of the docks. The ships coming in, unloading goods, sailing to distant destinations. It's not bad for an apartment. Here's a couple more apartments. Here's the trade guilds, Commerce Guild, whatever you want to call it. Vendors. Here's my bell tower. Those stairs go to the 3rd and 4th level. This one goes to the 1st and 2nd. Here's the bureaucrats. Here's their office. And go out to the back. Maybe a small little vessel might come up. They can take a little boat over to their other port. This one will go to the 2nd, but not the 3rd or the 4th. The soldiers occupy the 3rd and 4th floor. They don't need to come up through these bureaucratic offices or these bureaucratic areas. So it keeps the soldier traffic to a bare minimum. This is for the bureaucrats. The soldiers can enter the tower through this. They will bypass the 2nd floor and go directly to the 3rd. And I haven't put in the beds and the bunks yet, but that's this floor. This is the 3rd floor. That's where they're going to sleep, spend their time. Here we'll go to the 4th floor, which will give us access to all the cannons. And you can see, cannons look over the town. Over here it looks over the ocean. So any enemy vessels coming into the area will be met with these cannons here. That's why those guys aren't coming around. And it's a nice moon shot. Rising moon. And then again, this is the bell tower. If there's any issues, any problems, these bells will ring, letting the townspeople know there's a problem. Go take cover. And of course, I can transport. Here we are back down to the commerce area. I want my ship closer to the docks, so just call in your ship. Okay. If you stand this, the ship's going to face in the direction you're facing. And then you have to push it a couple times to get it closer to your port. But yeah, you can just, you don't need to park it. You can just call it in. Here's my smokehouse. Smoked meats. This is actually the other bonfire, which I hid underneath the floor. It's actually in the ocean. Who says fire can't burn underwater, right? Anyways, a little area for the vendors. Nice pergola. That's the side street. You can get up to the main road. You can go to the beach down here. Up to the main road. Here is another pergola. Main steps. Here's my furniture shop. He sells furniture. So yeah, the carpenter works out here in his little patio workshop area. Sells his goods. Where is my trading company? I'll show you that in a minute. Open warehouse area, storage area. Temporary resting spot for my goods until I can get them over to the Commerce Guild. Here's my loft, looking down onto the floor level. Got some timber framing up to the roof. I like that. My little office. Patio level. There's the jewelers right there. If you go to the build section and hit V, as in Victor, it'll give you a larger view. Kind of get your character, your guy out of the shot, so it gives you a better look around. Anyways, there's two patios. One's for the side street, right here. The other one's the main street. And that's this door here. And get a view of the ocean. The main street. Here's the Port Authority. Over there's the blacksmith. Well, he's actually the weaponsmith and the armor. That's what those two guys basically are. Two shops. Offices on the top floor. We just jump down. And, oh, let's take a look over here. This is where the horses will be boarded. If you're going staying at the tavern and you're going to spend the night, this is where your horses will go. And then you can just take this bridge over to the, comes right into the kitchen. So we're inside the tavern now. This is the kitchen area. So you would just walk through here. Out here are the kitchen gardens. Take you out onto the beach where we got some banana and lime growing. So a little garden. Here's the dining area. This is the commerce, so this is the fancy area. These are the rich people. So this is really a rich tavern. Come out here, you've got outside seating. Out on the patio area. There's the armorer and the weaponsmith. There's my pergola. Upstairs, we have rooms, of course. 4 rooms up here. This is my room, to my mansion's built. I got a nice patio view. I can look out onto the patio. Nice round patio down there. Swimming pool. More seating. We'll take a look closer in a minute. There's more seating out there. Access to the beach. There's a fountain area. The palisade I haven't built yet. I got the floor, I got the roads built, but I haven't built the buildings yet. Here's another room. They got their own little balcony. Nice walnut wood paneling. Another patio, because you gotta have patios. Looks out on the horses and the woodworking shop. It's not a very good view. It really doesn't smell very good when it rains, but there you have it. Anyways, back here, got some secluded rooms, nice and quiet. Not a whole lot of traffic. These are for those visitors who want to be incognito. They don't want to be known. They're tucked back away. Anyways, that's the tavern. Food and sleep. This is the workshops. Oh, we're not gonna go there yet. Okay. Outside seating, nice fountain. Here's the outside patio, ground level. There's my patio for my room. Kitchens are through that door. And then another, yeah, okay, we'll take a look at the kitchen again. Nice round patio. Access to the next level, which give us more seating, direct to ocean views. There's the garden, here's the swimming pool. I guess you call it a wading pool because it's not really big enough for swimming. Whatever. Seating. Have a nice dinner by the ocean. Here's some steps leading up to, oh, okay. We'll take a look at the beach access. Steps to the Palisade. I'm going to do something here, I don't know what yet. And here's the Palisade. We'll have a lot of arches, a couple buildings. We'll have some shops, seating, maybe even some apartments. We'll see what can fit in here. Here's the back of the armor and the weapons on the next level up. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, this is the he makes the armor. Little sitting area. Here's a fitting room. Here's this little shop. Upstairs are our offices. Out here is the workshops for both. There's the weapons. There's the armor's work table. Out here you have your forge, wood to burn, the forge. Here you've got it. Your recycling, another floor. Here's a workbench. Just make some stuff. Rope, fabrics. Over here is your ship building bench. Down there are the vendors, you see those. Down here is access to the horse and stables, I guess you could say, stables. You can go up to the tavern or come out here on the beach. There's another little area. Jungle. I'll build stuff out here. I don't know what yet. Maybe a hotel. Or not a hotel. More apartments. Housing. There's the docks. In the industrial area. You can't see it. It's too dark. But in the industrial area. Let's take a run over here. Again, Main Street. Yeah, Jericho. A nice view of the commerce area. This is where all the business and selling takes place. Some housing. course, government. You can't get away from them. Even in a pirate village, you've got government. They look the other way when it comes to my shady dealings. Because I'm so powerful. Anyways, what's this? If you want to see me build some of these buildings, let me know in the comments. I will do what I can to show you what you want. All right. Signing off. Until next time. Have a good one.